Hey, I see you're already here. My name is Mr. Z, but my friends call me PJ. You can call me PJ. And welcome to your 5-minute Bible blast with PJ. Wow. I'm really sorry. It's raining outside today, and we're going to talk about your 5-minute Bible blast. Each day I'll be covering a story from the Bible, and today we'll be looking at Genesis chapter 1 and 2. You can follow along. I'm going to include some notes with each lesson so you can read along, and I can send you some special things, some special messages, and each day we're going to have a puzzle that I'd like you to help me solve. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 and 2, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And God's Spirit hovered above, and God said, 'Let there be light.' And there was light." I'm going to use a little hand signal here to teach you what God created on the first 6 days of creation. So in the beginning, it says God created light. So there was darkness, nothing, and then in that darkness, God created light. Now, this kind of looks like the sun, and God created light before he created the sun, and we'll talk about that a little later. And so the word that we use in Latin is ex nihilo. God created out of nothing. And so that's what God created on day 1. And then the Bible says on day 2, God separated the waters that are below from the waters that are above, like the clouds up there. And he called the space in between sky. And so on day 1, he created light. It looks like a little candle. And on day 2, he created the space between the waters above and below, and he called that sky. On day 3, the Bible tells us that God separated the dry ground. And so I like to make a tree growing up out of the ground. It represents the ground and the branches on the tree. And on day 3, God created trees and plants that we see, all the trees and the plants that we see. And he created plants and all the vegetation and the growing things that we see. He did that on day 3. And then on day 4, God did create the sun. We're going to put the moon up there too, and the stars. And I'm going to use 7 stars because in the Bible, 7 is the number of completion. So whenever you see 7, it's like a complete set. On day 4, he created the sun, the moon, and the stars, and everything we see out in the planets and space. And then over here, jumping out of the pond, on day 5, I like to use my hands and make like flapping motions. He created fish there, jumping out of the water, and all the birds in the sky. So on day 5, he created everything that swims and flaps and flies. He created that on day 5. And then, most importantly, on day 6, God created man. So on day 6, he created man. I kind of like to do it like that. Day 1, it's like a little light. Day 2, the sky, the space between the waters above and below. Day 3, it's the ground and the plants. And day 4, the sun, moon, and stars all out there. And day 5, the flapping things. And day 6, he created man. The first man and woman were known as Adam and Eve. And he created Adam and Eve. And then he did a really cool thing. He created all of the animals that we know. Some tigers over here. Some monkeys over here in this tree. We'll talk about them later. And we've got some elephants off here on the other side of the lake. And some giraffes over here eating the trees. And a little lamb. Lamb's going to be very important too. We're going to talk about that. But anyhow, that's what God created.